Hi there, it's Grandma Roseanne, and we're going to make pecan sticky buns today, and we're going to make them because cameraman is whining all over the place. Why can't we have sticky buns? So we're going to make sticky buns so he will be happy. Now, this is a yeast dough, so what we want to do is we want to get the yeast started and make sure we're okay and that we can proof the yeast so we don't go through a whole lot of process and then it doesn't rise, all right? So what I have here is 2/3 cup of water, 2/3 cup of milk, and I have got that temperature to where it is just perfect to give to a baby, to let them drink. So we're gonna pour that into our bowl. And along with that, I have 2 teaspoons of yeast. All we wanna do is to make sure this little bugger here starts bubbling. So the next thing we're going to do while we're proofing our yeast is we're just going to kind of beat up 1 egg, and I'm just using my same bowl here so we don't have as many dishes. And here I have 2 tablespoons of sugar, and this is going to go into our yeast mix as soon as it's proofed. And if you're kind of new to bread baking or any kind of rolls, anything where you're using yeast, and we talk about proofing the yeast, what you are doing is you're making sure that that yeast is alive. Now you can kill the yeast very, very easily. You can kill it by putting in very, very hot water. Instantly will kill your yeast. That's why the temperature is very important. It should be between 150 and 120 degrees. And you'll know your yeast is good after about 5 minutes, 10 minutes, it'll start bubbling around. And if you leave it, it'll continue to bubble. It'll actually grow. It'll grow. And then I will show you what it looks like when it is proofed. And from that point forward, we can go on. Because I will tell you, there have been times when I was first starting baking bread and I did something to the yeast or I used old yeast and I went through 3 hours and then realized I was getting nothing. So if you're not going to get anything, better to find out at this point. Well, I think it's important, really important to understand things don't always go right in your kitchen. And sometimes you just have to put the brake on and you have to make adjustments. Cameraman, can you come up here and I want you to let them take a really good look at this mixture that has already been here for probably 15 minutes and nothing is happening. This yeast is dead. It's dead. I don't know. I know the temperature was correct because I've done it enough times to know the temperature was correct. So I didn't kill the yeast, but I could have gotten my hands on old yeast and it's not gonna rise. If it's not gonna work here, it's not gonna work in the oven. So this is where we put the brakes on. I have to tell you, we're gonna pause for a few minutes. Cameraman's gonna run to the store and buy some yeast, and then we will come back and we will show you what active yeast is like. All right, well, considering we did really good to test the yeast, we will now be able to move forward and know that we will have success. So always test it. It just doesn't pay not to take that one step. Now here, cameraman went out and he bought yeast for us. So this is 1 packet of yeast. And again, I have 2/3 cup of milk and 2/3 cup of water in here. So we will put that in. I want to mix it up a little bit like this. It's just easier to, I think, to get it all incorporated so you don't have quite as much milk in there. And the rest. Now we'll let this continue to do what it's going to do here. And we will watch that come together. All right, so now what I have done is been very grateful that you were able to see a failure. Now you know what to look for. So cameraman went to the store, he got more yeast, and so we have 2/3 water, 2/3 milk, brought up to the right temperature, and 1 packet of yeast, so we're good here, and it is starting to activate right now. So I'm going to get the rest of it ready to go into this. So what we need is 6 tablespoons of melted butter, And what I have here is clarified butter. Hold on. 3, 4, 5, 6. I realize I can't count in my head and talk at the same time. If you are using just regular butter, that's fine. But if you want something just a little bit above notch, a little bit better, then clarify your butter. I used to be afraid of clarified butter because I thought it was something that just the grand chefs did and it was going to be a big project. And oh, please, you throw a cube of butter into a pan and you heat it. Then if you kind of tip the pan, well, even without tipping the pan, there'll be a white scum on the top. If you tip your pan and take a spoon and just scrape that white foam off the top and discard it, that's just the solids in the milk. Then you have something that looks like this. This is pure clarified butter. Now, what you want to do is start to spoon the clarified butter out, and you will see that at the bottom of your pan, there's going to be more solids in there. So I just pour out the golden, beautiful liquid, and as the whites start to come forward, I stop and get rid of that. So you have your foam at the top, you have your solids at the bottom, and in the middle is the butter that you're looking for, okay? So I have 6 tablespoons in here. I have 2 tablespoons of sugar in here. And we're just gonna mix that all together. And then we are going to add our yeast. And just kind of mix that up a little bit. Just like that. We're going to add 1 egg. And you want to beat that egg. Beat it up good. Watch that yolk. It wants to stay intact and just roll around in the bowl. Don't let it do that. You want to get it all in there. We're good. Now in your mixer, you're going to have 4 cups of flour and 1½ teaspoons of salt. Now I don't pour all of it in at one time because I really kind of like to be able to mix that without all of it being in there at once. So we have a part of our 4 cups of flour is in there, and I'm going to dump all of the salt in. And then using the regular blade, the regular paddle, I'm just going to mix this up a little bit. I'm going to check down to the bottom, make sure the flour is not stuck to the bottom there, and then we can add the rest. Once I have mixed it like this, and I'm sure that everything is well blended, I'm going to take it off of this hook. I love working with yeast. When you get in there and you feel it, it's warm and it's alive. And it's going to create a luscious, luscious pecan roll. Sticky bun. A very sticky bun. Sticky to my finger. All right. So now I'm going to switch it out for the dough hook. If you don't have a mixer that can do this for you, just go ahead and do it by hand. And you can do that very, very easily. It just takes a little bit longer. But you build up muscle too. That's a good thing. Now we're going to let this go for 8 minutes. No, I'm sorry. We're going to let this go for 5 minutes. Okay, well our 5 minutes of kneading is up. And if you're doing it by hand, it's going to be longer than 5 minutes. So what you want to do, is you want the consistency of your dough to look like this. So when you're doing it by hand, pay attention to it looking like this. It's sticky, okay? Hence, sticky buns. Now I'm just scraping down the side here. And then now, if you need your mixer, just transfer this to another bowl. But I don't need my mixer for the next hour. So I'm going to cover this. And what I have done is I have preheated my oven for just a few minutes. I took it up to 200 degrees and then shut it off. Don't forget to shut it off. I'm going to put this in there because I think it just gives it an extra boost in order to get it really starting to rise. If you can't use your oven, it's certainly not a problem. Just put it someplace where there is no draft. Cover it. You can cover it with a towel, anything that's going to keep it nice and cozy in there. So I'm going to put this in for an hour, and then we will be working on other stuff while this is doing what it needs to do. Now I'm just going to set it in here. This is nice and warm. Please remember to shut the oven off if you do this, and then we will come back to that in an hour. In the meantime, we want to start getting some of our mixture that's going to go on the bottom. We want to start getting that ready. So here I have 1/2 cup of brown sugar. Always pack your sugar. It should always come out in a lump like that, okay? So pack it down good. 1/4 of a cup of regular sugar. Just a pinch of salt. We're going to add 6 tablespoons of butter. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I wonder if anybody else can actually count and talk at the same time. I'm going to start watching the chefs on television and see if they actually can do that. And then here I have 3 tablespoons of water. All nice and gooey. Now I have a 9x13 pan here, and I have greased it really well on the sides and the bottom with butter. We're going to pour our mixture in. Just like that. We want to be sure and coat it so it's evenly distributed. And then here is where cameraman and I come to a parting of the ways, because I am going to put pecans over the whole thing. What do you think about that, cameraman?
I think we have to redo this with no pecans. Can you do half and half for me?
I can do half and half for you. That I can do. I don't know how people can't love pecans. And just because cameraman is spoiled rotten, there's only going pecans on half of this. And for those of you who think, because I see some comments, oh, poor cameraman, he doesn't ever get to eat anything. You have no idea how well fed cameraman is. Right, cameraman?
I do well, thank you. You take good care of me.
I do take good care of you. Of course, some of the things that I have him eat, he's a real trooper, because he has to sample most everything that I make before it goes out to you guys.
I did adjust to that cake with the walnuts. That was really good.
I don't know if you guys, you haven't gotten it yet. Chuck, they haven't gotten it yet.
Oh.
I haven't posted it yet. I'm going to post it when we're finished with this. Oh. It is a hummingbird cake. Oh my word, it is my most favorite cake I have ever had in my whole life. So,
be sure to look for it.
Yeah, it was good, wasn't it?
Incredible.
All righty. So, just because I'm a nice lady, this is only going on half. And even though cameraman will eat his half, I'm really not a sweets person, so I will eat a part of mine, but I will share this with other people. And how many pecans do you put on? I don't know. As many as you want. How's that? Okay. We are good. So now we're going to make the spread that goes on to the inside of the sticky bun. And here I have 2/3 cup brown sugar and 1½ teaspoon cinnamon. And we just want to mix that up together, just like this. Make sure that cinnamon is really incorporated there. It smells really good. Okay, now we're to the star of the program. So this is our dough after it has risen for an hour. Take a look at that. Isn't that beautiful? It has doubled in size, and that's what we're looking for. Now, on a lightly floured countertop, you want to move this dough out and try to be a little gentle with it, okay? Come on, baby. There you go. And when we say sticky dough, we mean sticky dough. So what we're going to... Oh, that was scary. One of my measuring things that I use, those little glasses, just fell down. Okay, so as I was saying before I got scared out of my mind, this dough is magnificent. It is not good. It is not great. It is magnificent. So we're going to dapple this. You see what I'm doing? This is called dappling. Fingers get a little sticky. Honestly, you can feel the richness in this dough. You can really feel that. We're going to try to dapple this out. No, we are not going to try. We are going to dapple this out to 15 by 18. Now this will take a little bit of time, so be ever so patient. And as it stretches, you can use a bit of your palm. Could you take a rolling pin to this? Actually, you could. I really wouldn't recommend it, simply because you, as you're dappling here, you're going to see all the, I don't know, cameraman, see if they can see this. Come on in. Can you guys see all of these air bubbles in here? Can you see those? There's like a ton of them in there. So as we dapple, you're able to maintain some of those air bubbles, quite a few of them actually. If you take a rolling pin to this, you're not going to maintain them, you're going to pop them all. So, takes a little bit of time, and that's okay, because if you're not with me, I turn on music, or I'm listening to a program, or pretty soon now it'll be all Christmas carols, because I love them. So, I occupy myself, and I actually enjoy this part of the process. If you allow yourself to do that in the kitchen, and it's not rush, rush, hurry, hurry, throw it in, get it out, slam that food on the table, I mean, nobody can enjoy that. But I believe everybody can enjoy this. At least I hope you can. At least give it a try. All right, I've measured this, and we're 15 by 18, so we are good. And the reason you want to be fairly close to those measurements is that you don't want your sticky buns to be so dense. You want them to have the right amount of dough and filling in each one of them. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just even this off, simply because, well, that wasn't so good. It's easier for me when I work with straight edges. Oh, that's pretty straight right there.
Now, if you hadn't seen me cut it away, you would have thought, oh my goodness, she just did a Martha Stewart there. No, I didn't. All right, now we have melted butter, and we're just going to spread it nicely over our pastry. And you can take it all the way to the edges. Just like that. Now to this beautiful mixture, we're going to just start spreading our cinnamon and brown sugar mixture. There's a big old knot in there. Where'd that thing come from? You want to leave about an inch on each side here. And now you just want to kind of pat that in, just like this. Okay, now from the length of this, the longest side of this, we're going to start to roll it up. I use a bench scraper because it really kind of helps me get everything started. So you pull and roll. Kind of bring it in, tighten it up a little bit as you go. And even though this was a very sticky dough to start with, I'll tell you it is absolutely wonderful to work with at this stage. So I pull it in. Do you see what I'm doing? I pull it in a little bit and then tuck it in. Pull it in a little bit. I think this is one of the nicest dough that I have used in making cinnamon rolls or sticky buns. Now, do you see what I'm doing? I'm going along and I'm pinching the seal. Just like that. I'm going to roll it over onto its belly. And now we're going to cut it. If you take a knife and you do this, you will have a real mess on your hands in regard to the cinnamon swirls. You'll have a problem with that. So what you want to do is either take some kitchen string like this or some dental floss and scoot it down under. You want to score it so that you know you're cutting it at the right spot. So we're going to cut it in half, and again, and again, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, no. And then these go in thirds. Okay? Now take your wire, not your wire, take your dental floss or your string and just scoot it down under, get to the point, and cut it, just like that. Okay? Just keep scooting it under. Crisscross it and twist. And on and on and on. You see how beautiful your swirls are when you do it this way? Honestly, if you tried to do this with a knife, Not going to be a good swirl. Cameraman's worried now because I'm over onto his side of the sticky buns.
Careful.
Okay, cameraman, we did pretty good there. These look fabulous. Oh, look at them, you guys. Pat them down just a little bit. Just like that. So what we're going to do now is we're going to let them rise for an hour in a draft-free location. I'm going to put a little wrap on the top because I want to make sure that no air, no draft gets in there. So in an hour, I will come back and then we will be ready to bake. Okay? See you in a little bit.
In an hour, and look at how beautiful these are. Oh my gosh, they're gorgeous. So what I'm going to do now is kick that oven up to 375 degrees. As soon as it's preset to 375, I'm going to pop these in and they will be there for 30 minutes and then we will pull them out and you will see something spectacular. So give us a little bit of time, we'll be back. We're ready for the next step, and that is to flip it over, okay? But before I do that, I want you guys to take a really good look at this. Cameraman, come in and take a look. All of these are rather uniform. This is ginormous. Cameraman is so hoping that this one has no pecans. But considering we have flipped this plate several times, I have no idea whether that's going to be his or mine. So let's just check. Now, I think the easiest way to do this is upside down like this, I hope, and a quick turn like that. You ready?
Let's do it.
Whoa!
Wow.
That is super fantastic. Oh my goodness. Cameraman, I'm so sorry because this is Big Bertha right here. But all of these still look scrumptious. Well, I'm going to let them cool down just a little bit. Then we will have that wonderful taste. And then I'm going to run some of these down to my neighbors because they will be... Cameraman is shaking his head. No, you don't even like pecans.
You can pick them off.
He is terrible. That is not the holiday spirit. So anyway, give us a few minutes, let it cool down. We will be back and have that sample. Here we are. This is the prize for these beautiful, beautiful sticky buns. Ooh, that looks very good. All right. Now, for those of you that know me, know I hate sticky. So the only way I can do this is to kind of pull this apart. Look at this, cameraman. Do you see the cinnamon swirls in there? That's perfection. That's what you're looking for. Little bit of pastry, little bit of syrupy goodness, little bit of nuts, and the cinnamon swirl. Hands down, the best sticky bun I've ever eaten. And you know I would tell you if it wasn't. So, give it a shot, give it a try. Oh, subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe. If you had fun with me, like I had fun with you, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell so you know when we post again. All of these ingredients will be below. So, thank you for coming. I really appreciate it when you join us, and have a wonderful rest of your Sunday, because we are going to enjoy ours. Thank you. Bye. Oh, good.